This sode would not be possible without the support of our listeners, patrons, and sponsors. If you'd like to learn more about supporting the 3-Bit Gamer Show, check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/3BG. And a huge thanks goes out to our boss-level patrons, Jeff, Christopher, and Patrick. I also want to give a much-deserved preemptive kudos to Jacob Stewart, who recorded and sent us an incredible voicemail that makes an appearance in our intro this week. Absolutely amazing voicemail. I hope you guys enjoy it as much as we did. Well done, Jacob. Well freaking done.
A pink sun rises, sending long, dusty rays of sunlight over a quiet city. Already, people are beginning to rebuild their ruined homes. The final stand of the remaining 2 Deathmoths was just enough to push back the terrible flame dinos, but the cost was great. Their strongest member, Slamfist, is in the wind, beyond the mortal realm, seeking for a way to return Galaxy Girl to their squad. Both JD and Peterson are bruised and nowhere near ready for another fight. The 2 return to Deathmoth HQ to lick their wounds.
My boots are slick with the slime of lizard guts. Never gonna get this stuff off the leather.
Makes me sick.
Think that's the last of them?
Never is, never will be.
Well, not with that attitude, it won't.
By the power of Slamfist, we have returned! I found our friend dwelling in another realm of kittens and skeletons. She did not want to leave.
No, I did not, but I'm back now, and so I'm gonna do the only thing I know how to.
Deathmoth! Something is coming up on the vid screen.
Greetings and salutations, Deathmoths. 'Tis I, Lizard Von Gizzard, General of the Green Geckos. I'm hailing you to let you know that my dastardly scheme has come to fruition, whilst you skinwalkers have been flailing about trying to save the city. My geckos and I have been toiling to bring about the day of Lizard Retribution. My biters have been biting, my crawlers have been crawling, and my slitherers, they have been doing what they do best, and it's none of your business. Nosing.
Been up to stuff.
We have amassed a mountain of graphic cards and PS5s, and have sold them at quadruple the value. We took that money and we substituted your corona vaccine with lizard DNA instead. Yes, every other person you know will become a lizard person by sundown.
If you'd like to make a call, please hang up and try again. If you need help, hang up and then dial your operator.
You just logged on to the 3-Bit Gamer Show. Welcome to the 3-Bit Gamer Show. I'm JD.
This is Peterson.
I'm Dani.
This is Trent.
And you get used to it. There's going to be more Deathmoth shit.
It's so
JD
fun!
just said we just
It's
have a lot
going
of fun
so
with
well.
that. Yeah. We're going to string it all together. It's not going to make any sense.
Just have
There
one
is a
episode
canon,
with all
though.
the intros stringed together.
Yeah.
Oh, man, it's going to be good. You guys, you know where we're going with it.
Do they?
Live from the 3-Bit Gamer Show. The news. All right, our news this week is brought to us by those crazy devils over at Crave Cookies. Crave! Guys, guess what? Big news from me, personal news from
Personal
JD.
news.
The Scotch Rookie's back!
Yes!
You
Just
guys,
for you, man.
Trent puts a Krispy Kreme, a Rice Krispie treat in the middle of a cookie.
JD
you.
threatened Trent. Seriously, he threatened him on Discord. It was like very personal threats too.
Yeah.
Because he knows where he lives, and so Trent
Biting
was like, "Yeah, I
stuff.
got to bring it back."
Okay, fine.
Yep.
Oh, fine.
Yeah. Also, they've got the Nutella cinnamon roll. Trent, this one's new, right?
This one's new. Yeah.
A snickerdoodle dough with cinnamon chips, Nutella filling, Nutella icing, cinnamon and sugar. Oh my god.
Just mixing stuff up.
Just
yeah.
mixing it, all the stuff.
You guys go to cravecookies.com to salivate, or go to Crave Cookies, the store, to eat these. All right, so our news, we're just going to kick it off with some Dani chum.
Yay!
Just chum in the water to get Dani
Just
to
for
come up,
me!
and she's so excited. This is Tall Mommy news. Lady Resident Evil.
Domatrice.
Yeah, Resident Evil 7's Lady Domatrice. This is an article in, let's see, where was this? In Vice, about the actor who portrayed her. And I do say actor, not voice actor, because I was unaware, but she also did the motion capture. Guys, there's this video in this article, and I'll post it in our Discord. It's like 20 minutes long. It is fascinating. Did you guys watch this?
Mm-hmm.
I did not watch the video. I just read the article.
So they've got the woman who is playing her and is voicing her is also doing all the motion captures, and they'll show her in her big mocap suit with her big floppy mocap hat. Which has little sensors on it, of course. And she's walking and doing all these motions, and then they're showing them on the screen after she does them, and just seeing how they have synced them up and like rigged the character on her acting, and it is so cool. But the article's fun because it talks about how I'm just gonna read the first paragraph because it's so funny. Maggie Robertson had only been in Los Angeles for 6 months, having just moved from London after completing a master's degree in classical acting, when she unexpectedly landed the role of Lifetime, Resident Evil's Village's Lady Domatrice, aka the tall vampire lady the internet's been extremely horny for ever since they were revealed earlier this year.
This is true.
So,
the best part of this article, okay, that first paragraph, I'm like, classical acting in London. You know the scene?
Now she's tall mommy.
When she fell so far, but
She
she
did
rose
it.
so high.
She
No, now
rose
she's
so
nine-
high.
Yeah, she's 9'6" now.
She was
Can't
falling
fall at
far,
all.
I'm sure.
Break a hip at that height.
You know the scene on The Office where Michael Scott's like, acting.
Acting.
That's who she
That's
was.
how she learned how to act.
That's where she was, and
Yeah.
now she's tall mommy.
Now she's telling mommy. I think it's so cool. I mean, there's this one scene where tall mommy, the character, throws her like vanity table in a rage,
Mm-hmm.
but the actress has like this little styrofoam
It's like PVC pipe
rectangle,
or something.
and she's
She's
like,
throwing it.
but she throws it and she acts with the same like gravitas as like a giant 9-foot woman throwing a table, and it's really cool. I think I don't know. I hadn't seen. You see the 1-to-1 sometimes, like The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, the motion capture they do.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool, but like seeing it with a game, I don't know. It was just kind of cool. Anyway, and tall mommy news, anything is just gonna be an instant.
Yeah, she's
We have
so
to cover
great.
her. She's so great.
great, guys.
She's
Love her.
Dani wants. Okay, so this is the next God of War game. I don't know if you guys saw God of 4.
Nope.
was the
Dad
last
of
one.
Boy,
So this
yeah.
one will be God of 5.
Well, the naming convention doesn't stick that you really pushed for last time. It doesn't really work anymore.
It's canon in my mind.
God
this
of
game,
5.
God of 5 sounds great. I don't know what you're talking about.
I
It's
mean,
either
it's
that
a
or
completely
5
different
of-
type of game now.
5 of War. Or how about this? Wait. God 5 War.
God 5 War.
You say it fast enough. It sounds like it. God 5 War.
Dude, we're really pushing it.
It sounds like something at that speed.
It sounds like anything. This game's been delayed. We didn't really expect this to come out this year because all we've seen on it so far has just been a trailer, and we're halfway through this year, and they said it was coming out this year, so obviously it's not going to come out this year.
No.
So yeah, it was delayed. In other news,
It got the
continue-
2021 treatment. Everything
Yes,
is delayed till next year. Like, this is not a surprise
Yeah.
to anybody. But also, did you see that people were so mad that they said it was going to be on the PS4 as well?
So
People are mad about that.
well, yeah, you've got to get mad.
At something?
Big mad that you bought a scalped PS5, and now people might play the games that you bought that scalped PS5 to play without buying a scalped PS5.
Yep.
That would make me mad. Also, because this is just like blursty bait.
Oh, so hard.
Because I don't know. I guess I don't understand the mentality. Because I don't actively hate women, but
'Cause you're
the
not a
idea.
psychopath.
You're welcome. Honestly,
Has anyone told you thank you for not hating women?
I don't think anyone needs to, Danny.
Yeah, I didn't know
that
was
should be
like
the
something
fucking
you-
default. So apparently, gamers, this is the new trend: is if your favorite game gets delayed, God of War, if that's your favorite game, what? Your game gets delayed, so you just go down the credits, or you just try to figure out any woman that's working there, no matter like what her role is, and you're like, that's it. She is the reason this game was delayed, and
It's her
B,
fault.
now the only recourse, because I can suspect one individual is responsible for delaying this game, the only recourse is to send like horrific threats her way. What? Where's the logical leap there? Elena Pierce, this is a woman who I believe got her start. She was working at IGN recently. She hosted like a show on IGN, like a news show. And I think she was hired as a writer for Santa Monica Studios, which is really cool. And if
It's
I
a
can
really
be
big
honest
gig.
with you, half the game journalists out there right now, if you were like, hey, you want to just like come write for video games, would be like, yes, and quit their jobs and do that. So like she has made a jump that like lots of her colleagues, I'm sure, would be stoked to do. So it's like really cool and really impressive. And I don't think she is making that call. Whether or not the game is delayed.
Some guy goes on Twitter and blames her specifically. Says, listen, no game God of War has been delayed until you came on.
Yes.
Like she's not writing fast enough
sure?
or something.
And then proceeds to say some awful stuff after that.
Yeah,
Of course.
Really
yeah,
dark
that was
shit.
where
That
dark
was-
shit. We'll leave it at
Well,
that.
That was
because
the
that's
opening
censored, but-
statement. That was the opening statement. He had a whole thesis after that. Of
Yeah.
horrible things.
Luckily, the studio head, Corey Balrog, if that's his real name, tight.
I hope so.
So tight. He came out and said, I did this. I made these calls. Leave my team alone, and came to her defense and was like, what the fuck? What's wrong with you all? So
he said, I made the call. I did this. Like, cause he's
and
the
even if Elena
lead.
Pierce had done that, so I'm like, is that guy? He better send that dude threats too, the same exact nature too, because if he is mad for that reason and he thinks the person responsible for delaying his game deserves that, he better
JD,
go tell Corey
JD,
Balrog.
You're missing it. He's going to reach out to Corey and say, you hired this lady and now a game has been delayed.
It is your call. It was your.
It's correlation does equal causation.
Yeah.
By the way, his name is not Balrog. It is way worse because you switch 2 letters and it's Barlog.
But his Twitter is still Balrog.
Yes,
Yeah.
Barlog. I don't know. It just sounds so dumb at that
Barlog.
point.
I would legally get that changed.
So close. Just like switch 2 letters. It's like a typo. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or yeah. Okay.
You're so close, Corey.
Next up, this is kind of something that I'm vaguely interested in, so we're covering it. A bunch of Need for Speed games, older ones, are about to be erased from reality. Is the dramatic
It won't
headline
exist
here
anymore.
on Kotaku. This is EA pulling a lot of Need for Speed. This is that racing game, pulling down their servers, so people can't play this game anymore. I guess
There's like 5 of them. Listen, none of these games are
No,
games
these
you're
are not
playing
like
anymore.
amazing
These aren't good
games.
The problem is they're just deleting these, right? They're just going to be gone. Like you won't be able to play it. You won't be able to buy it or play it unless you find a disc somewhere, but it will be useless, right? So the article is like, why? Why do you just shut it off? Release the source code, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to hurt you because you obviously,
Yeah,
You're
people
not
won't be making
selling
money.
this.
yeah, it's going to be done. So release the source code. Let whoever the like 300 people who want to still play it, right? Let them make a server and play it still if they want. You know, I don't understand this thing.
The thing
where
is
they just like
Peterson,
you can't get it anymore.
Yeah.
The game's over.
just runaway capitalism just demands that you can't not make money. That's the rule.
If you have a thing,
you have to make money. A is the first rule. You have to make money. And B is you can't not make money. So everything you're doing, if it's not making money, you can't do it.
Dude, it's the take my ball and go home. Not enough people are paying me for this. Taking my ball. And you're like,
so
dude,
cool
there's still like 5 or 6 of us playing. Can we borrow your ball? And you're like, it's my ball. I'm
Imagine that
taking
being
I'm gone.
the life cycle of like a video game is that it comes out, it has a really good like run, and then people love it, and then the game they don't want to support it anymore, and they just release it. And then people just run with it. Yeah. Because people have been doing that with like so many antiquated games and games whose like IPs are just kind of like floating out there, and they're like, oh, well, we'll just like throw up a fan server of this game. Like, yeah, I just think that we could, I don't know. I think we should. I think the article is a little dramatic.
Yeah, but like just games disappearing it feels wrong. It just feels wrong to me.
We're losing stuff.
Yeah.
When we have, every article you see that comes out is like, hey, now you can store like 6,000 terabytes on a chip the size of a nickel. And I'm like, cool. Why are we throwing stuff away then? Why don't we save fucking everything and like 6 trillion backups of it?
It literally will cost us nothing.
It costs nothing.
You can it'll be nothing.
Eat it onto one of your chips.
Speaking use it.
Of EA, EA in just a dope EA move, is hiring a Call of Duty boss, Byron Bede, whose parents hate him and decided to name him after like, I don't know, like a fairy tale character.
Byron Bede.
Ooh, everybody listen up. My name is Byron Bede, and I'm here to sing a tale of crickets. What kind of name is Byron Bede?
I kind of want to know more about this tale of crickets, not gonna lie.
Wait,
it's
Byron,
the only thing we have to eat here.
Oh, don't like that. Bad twist.
Wait, is he a leprechaun that eats crickets? I am.
You ask me. He's also the new SVP and general manager of Battlefield. You trust this cricket muncher with Battlefield?
Boss. Call of Duty boss.
Not an executive. He's a boss.
He's the boss guy. He spent 20 years at Activision Blizzard, where he was recently the executive vice president and general manager of the Call of Duty series. So very inspired hiring practices, guys.
You know what
he does this job with the gun game, the other one. Let's have him come do it on our gun game.
the almost identical shooting.
The exact same, which by the way, the crux of the article says that they're bringing him on to make both the gun games exactly the fucking same, because they're bringing him on. They're getting rid of the single player, which they're saying that's not making us money. That's what fucked us on Battlefield 5. So come get rid of that, which is what they've already done on Call of Duty. They did it like 6 iterations ago. They got rid of the storyline because he realized only people that they would spend money would only wanted multiplayer. So they're bringing on this guy to get rid of the single player and then double down on the mobile offerings and their battle royale mode. So basically they hired a Call of Duty guy to come work on Battlefield, and literally we're openly about like, let's turn it into Call of Duty.
Yeah. This is going to be Call
That's
of Duty
crazy.
Now. Byron Bede.
And apparently he's reporting to Vince Zampinelli, who, if you guys remember, was the dude that was the original director on Call of Duty 2 and Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2, and he left after some disputes with Activision Blizzard to form Respawn Entertainment, but now he's basically back making Call of Duty 16 Battlefield. Wow, it's gross. Everything's icky and the
all
same.
Call of Duty.
Dude, it's honestly like if they had hired Feige. Is it Kevin Feige? Is that how you say his name?
Yeah. The Marvel guy?
Yeah.
Phage?
It's like I think
it was
Feige.
I think it's Feige.
Yeah, it's like if they hired this
It's
dude
Feige or
that,
Feige. It's one of those two.
whatever
I've been saying it
his
wrong
name
my entire
is,
life.
it's like they hired the dude that put the whole MCU together, and they're like,
DC took him.
they brought him over to DC, and they're like, make it literally the same. They're like, get rid of the gritty stuff. I want Batman to literally be fucking Iron Man. I want him to be Tony Stark. I want his cape to be made out of metal.
Just get Robert Downey Jr.
Just
like,
you
no
know
one
what?
will notice.
Fuck it. Robert Downey
Yes.
Jr. is Bruce Wayne now. He can do both. He can do both the guys.
Oh
Chris
my God.
Evans, Superman, easy, done. Like, dude, it's crazy. So good luck with that. All right. So next up, this is super funny and an easy Blursty nomination. This is Nintendo versus some guy representing himself because
Against
naturally,
guy.
when going against a
You
multinational
represent yourself.
tech conglomerate, you represent yourself.
And he
because,
did well.
God damn it, you are right. This is a
almost had
dude,
him.
Matthew Storman. Matthew Storman, another fake name sounding dude. That's like a
Every
name you
name
come
is
up with
made up
while
now.
you're like, my name is Matthew, and you say your first name, your real first name, before you realize you have to now give a fake last name, and you see a 7-Eleven, you're like, Storman.
Storman.
Matthew
Storman.
Storman, that's my name. So Matthew Storman, who made up his name in the same way he made up his legal degree,
Dude.
without an attorney, decided to defend himself in court. He was a ROM site. It was like a site where you would go download cracked versions of Nintendo games.
Oh boy.
However, unlike every fucking ROM site I've ever seen in my life, he actually charged a subscription fee. So this guy was actually making money off his ROMs, which is like it's like the cardinal sin of doing this stuff. Like Pirate Bay doesn't like charge, and that's like a big reason that they were able to like slip under so many laws, which not always successfully. But this one is just a clear-cut case of him like using Nintendo IP to make money illegally. And when they're like, okay, we're going to sue you, he's like, good luck. You're going to have to sue me.
You're going to have to go up against
Like,
me
okay,
personally.
Yeah. Are you really ready to take on me in court, pal? So this guy hits the fucking courtroom like it's a GeoCities page, and he's ready to carve out a new defense for himself.
His defense is incredible, by the way.
Yeah, so
Dude.
he says his site wasn't breaking any laws, and he just straight up asked the court to dismiss the case. So
And then
that's what they teach you in law school. Day one.
And then
they're
he
like,
tells them
every lawsuit, you just go up to the judge. Sometimes you get lucky.
dismissed.
You have to try it though. Just be like, hey, will you dismiss this?
No.
1 in 10, they'll do it. They'll just do it.
Dude, okay, but his oh gosh, the best. So his whole defense is that first defense point, I didn't personally upload anything. And
Mhm.
they're like, yeah, you did. You got me. I did. And then
I did
he's like-
because I told you earlier that I did in a sworn
in
statement.
a sworn statement, and then he tries to say he didn't. And
then he's like, oh, take backs.
yeah. You
This
got
guy's
me.
whole defense amounted to essentially, Like
Dude,
that was the whole thing. They're like,
it's like
okay,
a little
well, you did
kid,
this.
like,
He's
oh, no, I don't know. My brother did it.
That's not
you know?
mine.
Like, it's-
Folks,
and he
this is
says-
exactly why you hire a lawyer. Even if you think you're a genius, even if you think you're the best heart surgeon in the world, you don't do heart surgery on yourself.
Yeah, I can do this. I can do this.
I've done this 1,000 times.
Wait, his second point though is that he tells them he had no idea what was on there because people were uploading it, but then his ads said it was Nintendo games, and he's like, I don't know what it was. There's no way to know.
This guy is incredible. Matthew Storman now owes Nintendo $2.1 million. But
he
I'm
can
sure
afford it. His site
he can-
made him like $30,000 in 2019. So
Yeah, dude.
He's close.
yeah,
Killing
he's going to earn it back with some hustle. All right, our next one is
This one blows my
Capital
mind.
Y. Yikes.
Okay.
For Rainbow Capitalism. Okay, so Injustice Mobile. Injustice is that fighting DC fighting game. And the mobile version of the game had rolled out a promo for Pride Month this month, where they called everyone to gather together, and celebrate Pride Month by beating the shit out of Poison Ivy.
They're only
Poison Ivy is the only queer character in the entire Injustice
Teaming up
canon.
with Poison Ivy's partner to take her down. Like teaming up with Harley
Yeah.
Quinn
Oh,
and
yeah.
helping Harley Quinn take her down.
get her. Dude.
Yeah, they called it. This is the best
That's-
part. They called it "Love Conquers All." What the fuck does that even mean?
What is it
in
conquering
this
here?
context?
Lesbians?
Yeah,
Dude,
I guess.
I can't.
Love conquers lesbians. Let's beat the shit out of them 500,000
God.
times. They quantified how many times they wanted you
Yes,
to just
over
beat
and
the
over
shit
and
out
over
of her.
and over.
And they're like, yeah, let's do it.
This is the most tone deaf thing I could possibly imagine. How did this get past? I can't. How did this get out there? Somebody
Dude, when you're just here's the
greenlit
thing: when you're
this.
not paying attention and you're just doing it because you're like, oh, it's this month, so we'll just slip it in. Dude, they would have done the same exact promo for Black History Month had they had this ready in February. They would have been like,
Tone Deaf
celebrate
doesn't even cut it,
Black
though.
History,
Like,
beat the shit out of Poison Ivy.
not only how did it get greenlit, but how did it stay live long enough that someone was actually tweeting about how high that number was going? Like, it just gets worse and worse.
Yes, this is wild. I don't even know how to respond to this. I read this and I can't believe that it exists.
This is why I'm rooting. This is why I'm a fan of Wrath Month. Comes after Pride Month, and then it's Wrath Month for this shit.
Oh my god!
Coming for you, Justice.
Get 'em, boys.
All right, this is back on the Cyberpunk beat.
Here we go.
These are some quick hits. Cyberpunk maker reports slump in quarterly profits amid PlayStation delisting. We already talked about this a little bit, how they can't make money when they can't sell their game on like one of the 3 major stores that they want to sell it on. 500 plus fixes. They're no closer to getting it listed on the PlayStation Store, and they're keeping it close to the vest. They also won't reveal their Q1 sales, but apparently estimates are, quote, shockingly low.
Shockingly low.
Good luck, CD Projekt Red. This is super sad, and it's just dragged out, but I don't know. I hope it's a lesson that other people can learn from. I hope these studios, after seeing this happen over and over and over again over the last couple of years, are like, maybe this isn't a sustainable practice. But who knows? Maybe we can fix it with more crunch, you guys.
You'd think so, but they're going to find out that CD Projekt Red hired a woman at some point. So
Oh, and they're
Fucked.
done.
Yeah.
That's why this happened, Danny.
no.
Wait, Danny, are you saying that's the reason this happened?
Wait.
No!
There's a woman working at CD Projekt Red. No one told
no.
me this.
Oh no! Run,
Get
girl,
him, boys!
Girl runs. There's
Girl, run like you on fire. Get off Twitter.
Never get on Twitter, folks. That is a straight guarantee from JD. Never get on Twitter. Also,
Wait, real quick, my favorite. I mean, this whole story was funny, but my favorite part was that I found out that Polish currency is called a zloty, which means like goldens.
I'm sorry.
So
Isn't Poland in the EU?
Yeah, they don't use the euro though.
I thought only the UK pulled that shit.
No, there's a few who don't
No.
use the euro, but yeah,
There's
their
actually, yeah,
their
there's a
currency
few
is
that have
called
two.
gold essentially. So like, oh, this costs 3
Nice.
gold. This is like a video game. They are a video game.
That is super cool. What is
Right?
it again? What's the word again?
Zloty.
Zloty.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that and I was like, I think that means gold. And I looked it up and I was like, yes, their currency is called just gold. Doesn't
That's
matter.
cool. All right, so you guys may have heard that AT&T spent $43 billion to acquire Warner Brothers, which is pretty big, I guess. Turns out
It's all
$43
one
billion
company
big.
soon.
And it sounds like this is going to impact Harry Potter, Mortal Kombat, and Batman
JD's
Game
tone
Studios.
just shifted. If you didn't notice,
Okay, so I guess that what's
Okay,
going to happen is
so-
AT&T is buying Warner Brothers and they're spinning off the content division, and they have no. I'm sure they have plans, but they have not released any plans on the future of Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment, which is the weirdest name I realized for a studio. Just chop one of those off the end. Pick. It can be Warner Brothers Interactive. It can be Warner Brothers Entertainment. You got to chop one.
No, it's interactive entertainment.
Oh dear, nope, that's too many.
Nope.
So this is gonna affect like a lot of studios. I'll just read them off because this is all Warner Brothers Studios. There's
lot.
Avalanche here in Salt Lake. Those are the guys that are making Harry Potter game.
Mhm.
Oh my God, please. There's Monolith Productions, which is in Kirkland, Washington, NetherRealm Studios in Chicago, Rocksteady Studios in London. Like, you guys know these. These are like big ones. Traveler's Tale Games in Knutsford, England. And then WB Games in Boston, Montreal, New York, San Diego, San Francisco. Like, I just hate that they're all just kind of floating in the wind and we don't know what's going to happen to them. But
all the games are going to get canceled, and
Don't
then
say
they'll
that. Don't do that.
they'll try to start their own game. It'll fail. We're all going the Amazon route.
So I just don't see. I feel like no, right? There's no way they would cancel any games after spending $43 billion.
No, they'll come out, but they'll
IPs.
They'll get delayed again.
The IPs are too big. Like, even if you just look at Harry Potter and Mortal Kombat, not even going into Monolith working on, like, Lord of the Rings or anything like that, like, you would be killing off some pretty big franchises that made a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, Disney has also made calls like this where they kill studios that make a lot of money just because, trying something new. So it's just too early to tell.
Yep.
Dani, and have you ever heard of a story where like game devs are just hanging out, doing their thing, making a game, and then there's some shift at the top with their ownership, and all of a sudden they get more money in support? Like Harry Potter gets like twice as much money, and they're like, here's 60 more developers and like a ton of resources to make the game.
Take all the time you want, guys.
Take like all the time you want. Here's
Well,
like so much
sometimes you
cash.
hear about it with smaller studios when an investor comes through. They essentially get like a second round of funding that is going to make it so their game can come out. Off the top of my head, I can't really think of any at like big AAAs, but they don't really go very public with that stuff either.
Well, I'm just going to assume that's what's happening at Avalanche. So
Seems like a safe bet.
Yeah,
It's
feel
all
free
fine.
to like
Everything's
not correct
fine.
me on that.
Harry Potter's still coming out next year.
Harry Potter's
it's going to be
coming
better.
out.
It's going to be
Harry
better
Potter's
than
gonna
it
be
was
great.
before.
That's the summation of this story. Okay, next up, E3. Guys, E3 is this week.
Yeah,
it's this
come on.
weekend.
Oh,
this
whoa.
Friday.
Yay, are you guys
Oh
going to go?
shit! Turn on E3. Get
I
on
guess.
G4. So E3, they've released their schedule. It looks like an E3 schedule. It's all the big guys. We've got Xbox, Bethesda, Square Enix. There's a couple. I'll just go over like a couple of things that I think are like kind of rumored or we're pretty sure we're going to see. We've got we might see a VR Assassin's Creed. So prepare to like see like get dizzy when he jumps out of the building and spins a bunch and then falls in a thing full of hay. Hopefully we'll see some Starfield. Remember I was telling you guys about how we're not going to see a sequel to Skyrim. We're not going to see Elder Scrolls 6 until Starfield is fucking out. We're not even going to hear a lick. So we might get something on Starfield at this one because otherwise Bethesda's not really going to be talking about anything. Gearbox has been, there's whispers that there might be a Borderlands spinoff that Gearbox is working on. Halo Infinite's going to take another crack at not fucking up a press conference. We'll see. Best of luck.
Round 4 or something?
Round 4. You guys remember at their, it was like the Xbox Live or whatever event where they're like, hey, here's Halo Infinite. You guys have been waiting for 5 years. Everyone's like, wow, that looks worse than it did on Halo 3 on the 360. And here's some screenshots comparing them side to side, so you know this works.
And here's the proof.
And here's the proof. What are you guys doing? And finally, kind of already touched on this, but there may be Hogwarts Legacy news at E3. Come on,
JD.
Shut up, Peterson. Shut up. I don't want to hear it. If it's not positive news about Hogwarts Legacy's release, I don't want to hear anything.
And he won't hear it. He was going to refuse to hear it.
I just
They're
won't
just
hear it.
working on it. Like, I don't know
Refuse
what
to accept.
news it'll be aside from maybe some new footage, if that.
Or that it's
They're
What do you
Canceled.
know, Danny?
I won't
What do you
say.
know?
I will say
Tell
nothing.
us everything.
You see me take out a piece of paper and then just like crumple it up and eat it.
Light
Here, I'm
on
going to write it all
fire.
down.
Here,
She
I'll write
just
it.
crumples
It's
it.
all here.
on fire.
Okay, and then here's another cool one. Some whisperings that were confirmed by Jason Schreier on Reddit or on Twitter. So however much, that's worth, is that they Fireaxis, the folks behind Civ and XCOM. What else do they make? Civ and XCOM.
That's the
tight. These guys are working on a turn-based Marvel game.
Yes.
No idea what that means, but it was part of this larger leak out of Marvel, and
they're saying
I don't know.
XCOM with
XCOM
Marvel heroes.
style, yeah.
I want that. That sounds great. As long as they don't give it the Avengers treatment.
Oh, actually, there's actually supposed to be some Marvel Avengers news at E3 this year, too. Isn't that insane? There's going to be Marvel Avengers news.
They're not giving up.
If the news isn't, hey, next up from Marvel Avengers, we shut down the servers and refunded all your purchases.
We're shutting down the servers. That's going to be.
Yeah, that's the announcement. Otherwise, I don't want to hear it. And then finally, some other shake-up news. Hellboy owner Dark Horse Comics is getting into games.
Wait, what does that mean?
Setting up a division called Dark Horse Games. Dark Horse also has a division called Dark Horse Entertainment that supervises
Dark Horse
their
Interactive Entertainment.
Nope, I just think it's normal. I think they named it like normal people name companies.
It really
they just settled on one descriptor.
Electronic Entertainment Interactive
Studios
Company Corporation.
That's what they're calling it.
Incorporated.
Dark Horse Incorporated. This is kind of cool because you guys know Dark Horse can just get their hands on any licenses and IPs from Alien, Predator, Star Wars, all sorts of stuff that they've messed with. But the properties they do own themselves are so awesome too. I already mentioned Hellboy, The Mask, which, by the way, the comic version of The Mask, if you didn't know, the Jim Carrey film is based on a comic, which is quite a bit darker and more violent.
Loosely based on
loosely based. Also, Sin City and 300. Can you imagine? I will take one GTA Sin City, please.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you very much. I don't know. I think it could be really cool if anyone can make a leap into just we're just going to make some games now. It's probably a comic studio with a ton of talent, a ton of experience, with IPs, and they already have an entertainment arm that makes films and stuff like that. So that's pretty adjacent. So
interesting.
We'll see.
They could do some interesting stuff. They have with the films, so they can do it with the games too.
Yeah. So we'll see. And best of luck to Dark Horse Games Entertainment Interactive. All right, let's move on to kudos.
Kudos.
All right, kudos is our positivity segment where we love to love on things, and something that I love is food. So I got a kudos.
All right.
This
is such a good one. Oh my gosh,
this is so good. Did you order anything yet?
I haven't, dude. I have $150 worth of stuff in my cart.
Shit,
I need to.
I dropped 62. Guys, you got to go to this website. I'll share it. It's just the word desert-drinks.com. Desertdrinks.com. It's called Desert Drinks and Exotics. It's I think they're out of Arizona. So if you're in Utah, your shit comes wicked fast.
Yeah.
They have just a ton of sodas, candies, chips, snack foods, junk food, essentially.
Yeah.
They have ramens and all sorts of crap from other countries. Just international junk food. This is an online international junk food market. Guys, holy shit. I spent $62, not $150. But dude, Godspeed on that. I hope you actually finally click buy on that.
I want to know how the giant Skittles are.
Okay, so here's what I got. I got a bag of teriyaki burger Doritos. Haven't tried those yet. And a bag of there were spicy something Cheetos. Haven't tried those yet. I also got Sour Patch Kids Cola from Australia, giant Skittles from the UK, 3D Doritos from Mexico, and a bag of the whole shebang, which are chips from the U.S. prison system. Yes, please, to all of those. The chips, the whole shebang were amazing. I don't know if they were like worth going back to prison amazing, but I did hesitate when I
JD's
considered
now thinking of prison crimes.
I'm like, dude,
I know a lawyer that can defend you.
I know a guy that can get you those chips so fast, probably.
Matthew Storman, look him up. He's got a great defense for you.
Getting you to do into prison. The giant Skittles were weird. They were not really Skittles. They didn't even have an S printed on them, so they didn't even bother. They're like, someone in the Skittles company was like, no, I'm not putting an S on those monstrosities. The shell is like thicker than a normal Skittle, and the inside is so not a Skittle. But they grew on me, and they're like, all right, for what they are. Like, they're okay. The Sour Patch Kids Cola, yuck. What the fuck is wrong with Australia? I will never eat another Australian candy. How do you fuck up such an easy candy?
Australia's on the list
thick.
now.
Like, I want a thick Sour Patch Kids. I'm like looking at my friend who's like, hey, how about those Sour Patch Kids? Are they good? I'm like, well, they're really thick.
What do you mean by thick? Like they're like
chunky. They're like meaty, like big boys. But not like you like want them to be thick and then the texture's wrong, so it's like a lot extra bad texture. Which do you think? I think they printed on the bag, like that's their slogan.
Do you think hot and spicy sun chips taste like hot and spicy grooves?
Dude, I tried to get some of those, but they were sold out when I was on there.
Oh man, there's a lot on
the
here.
3D Doritos. Okay, so recently they brought back 3D Doritos, and then like to fuck with me, they made the flavors gross. They had spicy ranch and like bean taco nachos or some shit. And I'm like, couldn't you just make Cooler Ranch and nacho cheese? Like, was that so hard? Well,
you already have the seasoning.
They've
just
got
put
it
on
figured
there.
out. Yeah, you already have it. Why did you get so close to greatness and then just turf at the end? The Mexican 3D Doritos are amazing, though. They taste like I just was like, it was just like that scene in Ratatouille. But instead of being teleported back to like my quaint French cottage where my mother's cooking, I'm teleported back to my like basement where I'm in a childhood basement. And I'm like getting my nasty Doritos hands on my on my Mac.
Playing Sim Ant on the Mac, just getting Cheeto dust all over the keyboard.
And I'm like, oh yeah, that's the version of me I want to be. So yeah, check it out. Desert Drinks and Exotics, desert-drinks.com. Just buy some shit, dude. Or at least browse it. Like, it's so fun to browse. Like,
I have gone through the complete listing of everything they have twice.
Yeah. You can get through every single product they have probably in like 30 minutes. So there's like a finite amount of products, which is like, that's why.
But it's a lot of stuff though.
Yeah. Like browsing Amazon is boring because you're like, it's like, surfing satellite TV. I'm like, okay, 5,000 channels. Great. Cool, guys. No, this is like a finite amount of stuff, and you can look at all of it, and it's all so cool.
My wife was getting annoyed because we're sitting there in bed, and I'm looking on my phone, and I just keep going, oh my gosh, Kelsey, and just like saying the next food item. And she's like, I don't care anymore. No, but wait, look at this. Doesn't that look awesome?
Sour cream and onion ramen. It's Pringle flavor. Come on.
Yeah, she wasn't a fan of me doing that for like an hour.
Yeah, okay. Well, Dani, do you have a kudos?
Yeah, actually, and it does kind of build off of something we were talking about earlier. So, we all know that gamer Twitter is an absolute hellscape.
Yeah, it's the worst.
Yeah, worst place you can possibly end up or be. But I want to talk about game developer Twitter. Game developer Twitter is actually a fantastic place full of great people. Short form is essentially there was a layoff somewhere I work, and some of my coworkers are out of a job now. It was very sudden. And so I took to Twitter and just asked basically like, hey, Game Dev Twitter, if you have any of these kinds of positions, can you shoot them my way or retweet for visibility? I'm not very big on Twitter, but my friends that work at a bunch of different studios like Blizzard and like little indies, like everything in between, started getting it out there. And I had people messaging me what their studios were hiring for and saying like, hey, pass this along if there's like anyone who needs to talk. And it's not the first time that I've seen this response during a layoff. like games aren't unionized, so there are layoffs and they suck and they're sudden, and a lot of times it leaves a ton of really talented good people out of a job and kind of just high and dry. So it's really cool to not only kind of see it firsthand, but just in the past I've also seen it with game dev Twitter really rallies around people who are going through something really terrible and try to get them back on their feet. Especially for such like a volatile industry, like game dev Twitter, you're one of the good ones. One of the only good ones.
Yeah. One of the safe places in Twitter. Don't venture outside there.
Yeah, so. I won't. Well,
there be dragons.
Safe is like one thing, because there's also like debates about Spider-Man's butt and 3D modeling. So like safe is a relative term, but you do learn a lot.
Yeah. How much can it jiggle? I mean, it's spandex.
The character artist from Insomniac had a lot to say about it.
Yikes. Oh, I can imagine. I mean, you spend most of the game staring at it while he web slings through the city. It's not a first-person game, never has been. So,
like I said, talented people.
Staring at butts.
Dani, we should be giving you kudos for doing all that work for your friends.
Oh.
Yeah. Because that's tight. Like, you don't have to do that, and you do, and you're getting people like, you're finding people contacts at the very least.
I'm trying, but I'm also inroads. I'm just one person. Like they have to do the work, you know, but any way to help, that's just all we can do, right?
Right, but you're actually going and doing that, which is awesome. So kudos to you.
Aww.
I turned it on you, so
I'm shocked and suddenly afraid.
Peterson, do you have kudos?
And then I have a pretty quick one. I know we have just tons of sports fans that listen to this podcast, but the Utah Jazz, our local NBA team, they've sucked always, even when Karl Malone was around. They've always sucked. Karl Malone sucks.
Kudos ever heard.
Listen,
the rudest kudos I've ever
heard. Turn around.
This is a kudos.
Listen, but right now they have the best record in the NBA. They just finished their first series in the playoffs. They won 3-1. They're continuing to play, and Donovan Mitchell, he's 4 seasons into the NBA, is absolutely killing it. He is, if he continues along this path, he will have all sorts of accolades as one of the best players in the NBA at the moment. But even better, all sorts of articles have been coming out lately comparing him to stupid Karl Malone. And guess what? His stats are already better than Karl Malone's in so many regards. So
how good is he on a scale from 1 to Karl Malone?
Karl Malone is 1. Sorry. Is 1 the best then? I'm trying to really figure this out.
He's like a John Stockton on that scale.
Oh, gosh. Well, Karl Malone is a 1, and literally anybody else is a 10. So, no.
He's pretty fun to watch, though.
Listen,
good.
Donovan Mitchell's really great. He's a good person off the court. All the news I hear about him in the offseason is just him donating money and visiting kids in the hospital. He's just a good dude. So I don't watch a lot of basketball, but I will watch them in the playoffs, and it's been fantastic to follow. So kudos to Donovan Mitchell and the Utah Jazz, and screw you, Karl Malone. You ruined my childhood.
Wow.
We're
so
making
bad.
enemies this kudos. It's Australia, Karl Malone.
Oh, Karl Malone is already an enemy of the podcast.
Karl Malone is number 1 on this podcast shit list, all because of Peterson. Okay, let's move on and do a little JD Asks. JD Asks.
JD Asks.
JD Asks.
JD asks?
JD's Ask. I don't know, guys. We're going with JD Ass. JD's Ass. All right, JD Asks is our segment where I ask something. And this week, I'm going to ask the very simple question that's probably not a very simple answer. What's
Okay.
your favorite sequel ever? What's your favorite game sequel ever?
Like, of all of them?
Of all of them.
Of all of the game sequels, okay.
Who wants to go first?
I just pulled up my Steam list. Give me a second.
She's like, oh man, this is
Well,
she's looking for all the twos
here's what I
and all the
struggled
threes.
with. I was like, here is my problem with the question that I asked. Is that are we answering that this is the best sequel, or the best the best sequel to a game that you loved? Like, you're like, I love the first one, and this is the best sequel that I've played,
Or just
a game that happens to
generally
be
the
a
best
sequel that you love that you may or may not have played the
That's a good
prequels. I've
point.
never played another Elder Scrolls other than Skyrim, but I'm like,
What?
Skyrim's a sequel, and it's one of like the best games that are in the sequel category I've ever played.
Mhm.
So, what do you guys think on that?
Oh, that's interesting.
How did you answer it though?
I answered
went-
it with
Go ahead, Trent.
the first.
Yeah.
Like the best sequel to
I've
a
played
game
all
you
of
played?
them. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I want to hear it. Trent, what's yours? What was your best sequel?
I
favorite
went with Super Mario Brothers 3,
Oh.
shit!
the
a good
NES game. Yeah,
That's a good one.
Mhm.
that was like the first game that really got me into platformers, because it was the first, like, Mario Brothers 2 kind of toyed with the idea of like
Mhm.
power-ups and playing different characters and multiplayer and stuff. But Mario Brothers 3 is when they really kind of opened the floodgates. Like, Mario had 4 or 5 different suits he could have throughout the game. It had multiplayer where you took turns with your friends playing through each levels, and you were kind of like, competing to see who could get a better score and stuff like that. I don't know, that was the first game that really got me started on that rabbit hole, and that led me to Mega Man, and yeah, so that's mine.
That is an amazing. I feel like that would fit the answer for either
Mhm.
as well, because like that was, I didn't really play Mario 1 or 2, but the third one, I played that so much. Peterson, what's yours?
Okay, man, there's a few. I kind of went the same route as Trent, but gosh, with your with your other version, it opens up like so many games that, like, I only played
That's
God
tough,
of War
right?
4.
Mhm.
Yeah, and so like there's a lot of sequels that I love, but I'll stick with like sequels that I know. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention Mass Effect 2.
You took mine.
Dan, I
Son of
knew
a
you
bitch.
would do that.
Both say that one.
You can say 3.
You
I
pronounce
won't.
Andromeda.
You can say
really
Andromeda.
I won't.
You get that.
Danny picks Andromeda. I don't know
It's like
why
a
I
Mad
picked number
Catz
2.
controller.
I would never.
Danny can get on this with me. Mass Effect 2 for me is one of the best sequels ever.
Mhm.
Mass Effect 1, the story that they had and they set up was incredible. The gameplay was like especially when you go back, you're like, nah, it's not as great. Mass Effect 2 had amazing gameplay, and the story was like okay, but what they did well was the character relationship building, and that's like most of the reason why you play the game, right? You're playing it and you got all these, you're building your crew, building, relationship with the characters, and man, I've played that game twice now, and both times, and I waited long enough to this when I played it the second time, and like fell in love with it again. It was so good. The second time through, even just felt fresh, felt new. I was like, oh my gosh, all the characters, who am I gonna pick? That sort of thing, and I love it. What an amazing sequel, and which is partially why Andromeda was such a disappointment to me, because
Mhm.
I played those games again before Andromeda came out, just cuz.
Yeah, as you do,
And-
as you should.
Right. And man, it just 2 is so fantastic. What do you have to say,
It's-
Danny?
I mean, it's basically the same thing, that it is very difficult to take a RPG style game where you are building a crew and getting to know these people, and coming into a sequel and almost having to get to know them again. You have to dance this really careful line in between introducing the game to a new group of players that maybe didn't play Mass Effect 1 and the fans that are excited to come back. And okay, this may be spoilers for a game that you definitely should have played by now, but it opens in the most shocking way possible.
Yeah.
By essentially
that's it.
splitting up the Normandy crew and killing your character.
Killing the main character.
Yeah, killing the
He's
main
dead.
character.
Easy.
Yeah, it's shocking. It is absolutely shocking, but they do such a good job of getting the band back together in an
Mhm.
organic way that makes it feel like you get to know everybody over again, but with more depth. And every mission feels tailored to that character. So you never feel like, with a lot of games that have big casts, it sucks when you are a fan of a minor character because you just don't have that much content. But with Mass Effect 2, they do such a good job of making every character matter. And so you really feel like, even with the characters that are introduced into, like Jacob and Miranda, you still get to interact with them and feel like you get to know them just as much as when you're going and doing like Tally's mission or Garrus's mission. And
Tally was my favorite.
I
Everyone
know.
likes Tally.
Her mission's
wonderful.
great though, but there's so much variety in how the gameplay goes. It is a brilliant masterclass in a sequel.
And you hate the villain guy. Like you like work for him, and you have to. But like the whole time you're like, I just know this guy sucks. I hate him. And then when he does suck, you're like, I knew it. I hate you, guy.
I hate you, guy.
My list of putting this together, I realized that I have an inordinately long list of games that I've only played sequels of. So
I have tons of those. Yeah,
Fallout 3. Never played any other Fallout games. 1 and 2. Skyrim. Didn't play other old Elder Scroll games. Half-Life 2. Didn't play Half-Life 1. Even Sonic 2 on the Sega Genesis. That's the first Sonic game I had. Never really played. So I did play Sonic 1 now, and I played it before, but I never owned it. Halo 2, I think I played Halo 1 a couple times, but Halo 2 was like what I had. And even Age of Empires 2. I didn't ever play Age of Empires 1. And then I played the remaster and was like, this sucks. This is why I never played it. So yeah, I've played a ton of sequels for the first time, but oddly enough, I think I have to say my favorite sequel ever, if we're going by the categories that you guys, the way you guys kind of viewed yours, in that like I loved the original and then the sequel came along and blew me away and really stuck with me. It's got to be BioShock 2. Oddly enough.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was because if I ever think about like what I do, if I'm going to go back and play some BioShock, it's always I'm going back to 2. I think it's the story is more replayable in my mind because after I played the first one through like a handful of times, I realized like the story is really, really leaning heavily on the twist as a crutch. And after you like know that's coming, you start to listen to the writing and you're like, oh, it's like, okay. That's just how I arrived at it, because I played both of these like a handful of times, and BioShock 2 is just the one that just is more replayable. I think it tightened up a lot of things that were a little loose in BioShock 1, and it just made the game, improved on the game in so many ways, and did a lot of things that you like wanted to do in the first game, like just dumb things like, oh, I can go walk around underwater in the ocean, like when I'm going from like one area to the next. And that was just like so cool after looking out the portholes in the windows in BioShock 1 the whole time and seeing stuff out there, seeing Big Daddies out there. The idea that they put you in a Big Daddy suit in BioShock 2 and you go out there and do all this stuff, like, I don't know. It was just so cool. So yeah, I realized that. I think BioShock 2 would have to be my favorite sequel ever. Isn't that wild? If I'm talking like games that, because there were just not many series that I've gotten through. I'm not a big series fan. Like, okay. I'll just jump in on one and be like down for it.
Just jump in and
jump out. I'm out. Cool. So we've got one more thing. We'll do Love It, Leave It. Love It, Leave It is this little ditty we do where we talk about things that we love and things we don't love, things we would like to leave out of a certain aspect in games. And this week, because it's 100 degrees today, you guys.
I could feel it.
100 degrees.
It's hot out there.
It sucks. And so we're doing temperature in games. What do you guys love and what would you leave about temperature in games? I always think about Zelda, Breath of the Wild. So many different temperature zones. You have the mountain where you freeze your butt off. You have the other mountain that's a volcano where you light on fire.
I'll jump in on that one. That's my leave it. My leave it. I would be fine if this shit never existed in a game ever again. Is the lava, like heat-based mechanic where your character needs to get some sort of special item that lets them withstand the temperature, or else you just lose a heart every 3 seconds or so. I hate it.
Yeah.
I think it's a stupid mechanic. I think it's a stupid like gating mechanism to prevent you from seeing content that you can freely walk into. And they're just like, no, we're just going to make you take damage if you come here right now.
You can try.
And everyone does it.
I'll do it. I'll see how far I can walk in the fire.
Oh, no, and you'll do it for like 20 minutes because you're like, okay, do I have to run? What do I have to do? Like, you're trying to figure it out. When I played Breath of the Wild for the first time, the only time, when I first came across, I think it was ice area.
Yeah, it was a mountain.
I was like really trying all these things, and then I was like, screw it, I'm never playing this game again. And I
literally rage quit it. One of the best games of the last
I didn't
10
like
years.
it that much anyway.
Rage quit it.
Yeah, but you didn't like WildStar either, so your opinion doesn't
okay.
count.
Nobody liked WildStar.
Someone's so bitter about that.
Never getting over it.
I have a love it that is kind of the same thing that Trent hates. But I kind of like when it seems like a realistic or like a logical change in temperature. One of the things that the volcano I mentioned in Zelda, like I was just exploring around doing dumb things, and I ended up I was on that volcano somehow burning, and I was like, oh shit, I have to jump off this volcano. And I pull out my glider, which is made out of like wood and fabric, and it starts lighting on fire. And I was like, all right, yeah, that's cool. That tracks. I like that. Or like in like Valheim. Cool. I like dying. Shut up, Trent. I do like it. It's realistic. Now I feel like I'm in Hyrule. Or like in Valheim, like when you go up in the mountains and it's cold, and so it's like, I don't know.
You got to have the warm clothes to go there.
Yeah, you got to you're like, okay, well, I got to either have a fire or I got to have warm clothes. I just kind of like those logical changes. Though I will say I agree with Trent when it's not like it's logical. It's like, we just don't want you going there, so we're just, here's a thing of lava. Like a volcano, that makes sense. Here's just a pile of lava that you can't get over right now. That's kind of a dumb way to.
But yeah, even then though, they still use it as like a gate, right? In Valheim, like we could go into the mountain, but we start taking damage until we can make the cloak, or until we can make the potions, where we can get up there, kill some wolves to make the cloak, so then we can freely roam around, right? That sort of thing.
But it like all makes sense to me. That all like flows and makes sense.
Yeah. I don't. For me, that's a leave it kind of, because most of the times I'm not playing games for like the realism of it. Sometimes I just want to see the different areas, and I don't want to be like, oh, I'm burning in the lava place now, and then now I'm freezing, and now I'm wet, and my stamina regenerates way slow, and like you're like, I don't necessarily want, because it's never a positive effect. It's never like, guess what? It's a bright, sunny day. Here's a stat boost. It's like, oh, something bad. You're wet now. You're cold now. And you're like, I don't want to do that. I just want to run around and do the thing I was trying to do. Or like you have to find that item. You have to have some sort of item. The only positive flip of that, as I'll say, is sometimes you get this item and you're like, what is this? What do I need like heat resist for? And then you find the heat level, and then you're like, oh, now I can finally use it.
Good thing I
carried
this around
in a chest for somewhere. Yeah. In my house, all for 25 hours, and now I can use it. Anyways.
See, I actually really do like temperature levels when they are used in an intuitive way where they change how you approach the level. An example, actually coming from Mass Effect Andromeda, there is an ice planet which requires you to set up these kind of like safe haven bubbles. Otherwise, you can drive around just fine. You just can't get out of your car for more than like a minute before you start taking damage. But it changes kind of how you approach exploring on the planet. Or in Destiny 2 and Amnesia Rebirth, there is a sun mechanic where if you're out in like direct sunlight, you take damage. And so it approaches the level in a way that you have to stick to the shadows and make running sprints through hot areas. But it's very
like Chronicles
subtle.
of Riddick.
Well, yeah. So in that sense,
tight fucking ref.
In that sense, I do like it. I do like
Yeah.
it when it serves a purpose. I don't like it when it's just a gating mechanism.
Mhm.
When it's just
Gating-
to prevent you from exploring an area.
Yeah, like gating can be frustrating, but when it is kind of a challenge to be like, well, you have to stick to the shadows, so how are you going to get through this level? But you're also fighting enemies, a la Destiny 2. That's cool. That feels kind of like you're solving a puzzle at the same time as fighting something.
So I guess that's okay when they do it right. The game that did it very wrong for me was No Man's Sky, where you'd visit this cool planet and you'd have to go find some stuff, find some materials. You needed fuel for your ship, and it's like, watch out, here comes a solar storm, and it's gonna last 10 minutes. You better find somewhere to be. And you're like, okay, I'm just gonna die now. And that happened all the time. Like half of the planets had some sort of negative effect. Toxic planet, freezing planet, hot planet, right? And you're like, it's an exploration game, and they made exploring very hard. And so when they do it wrong, I hate it so much.
Yeah. Like Fallout 4 actually does, in my opinion, a decent job of it with the rad storms. It feels like you're kind of waiting out a storm with those, and it kind of feels
So
pretty
cool.
in that sense, that you're like sitting there waiting for the rad counter to go back down, and then you just head back out. But I would say that game feels a little bit slower paced in those moments anyway, so it kind of feels like a nice reprieve, at least. Yeah.
So something that I just absolutely love is something, I mean, in any medium, I like it in a movie, I like it in anything, is when it really makes you like feel the cold.
Frostpunk. Oh gosh.
Frostpunk. You knew I was
cold
getting
just
there.
thinking about it.
Oh, and it's like that's the whole point. Like the noise when it gets dropped, the temperature drops 21 degrees or whatever, and it's like it's that noise of like icing over and then there's the snow, and they just do such a good job of like that constant blowing snow, and you're just there on like a really blizzardy day when it's just so frigid outside. Oh, I love when a game can just really capture that. I mean, even Valheim, again, because that's the one game I play so damn much now. Like when you're on the mountain in the storm, like, yeah, it feels cold. And if you can get back to like your little hut and there's like the little tiny fire burning, you're like, oh God. And you just sit there where your character warms up and you're like, just for a half second, you can squint and you're there. I just think that's the coolest. I love getting sucked into like really, it's just cold. Don't suck me into a desert level. Fuck you. I don't want to be hot ever. I hate it. I'm always too hot.
He's like
cold,
taking
though.
off his shirt mid-game. He's like, oh my gosh, it's so hot in
you
here.
can make me sweat very easily, but no, making me cold. That's what I want. Yeah, I love that.
My basement's already cold. Like I'm always cold sitting down here.
Oh,
so yeah, when I
Frostpunk was
play
probably
Frostpunk,
rough.
I'm like, oh gosh, I got like a scarf on. I'm trying to play with gloves on. Have you tried to
Got
use
little
the
mittens.
keyboard with gloves on, JB?
With the little fingerless gloves for gaming.
Okay, I do actually have a pair of those. I get cold though.
That's fair. That's fair. Does anyone have any more?
I have a short little list, but looking
Dude,
at mine,
do
I
it.
realized I hate all of them for the most part.
I was just
Like,
gonna say because I have so many positives. I hate it.
I love temperature and weather from like a cosmetic standpoint. I think it's really pretty to see the variation in environment. But like another one I hate is ice levels. It's
Where you slide.
visually
We're
they're my
sliding.
favorite. But yeah, think of a platform you actually enjoyed an ice level where you like you're trying to time your jumps while your character's sliding around on it. It's the worst. It's obnoxious.
That's a good point because those levels are never enjoyable. You get through them. You're never going to go
No.
replay the ice level.
And I hate it because they're always
yeah.
so pretty, but they're just not
Yeah.
fun.
There is the case of the end of Journey where it switches to snow.
But that's not Slippy, is it?
It is.
But you
It's,
don't
like,
die
blustery.
in Journey, right? I mean, I don't remember it. It was a long
He
time
was like,
ago.
I died a lot.
No, it's more so that by the time that you're getting through the ice and snow levels, the pace of the game is a lot slower and sadder because you can no longer fly and jump because your cloak is frozen, and it does a really good job of that like icy, snowy, blustery feeling of just trying to keep going. It's very good at that feeling of sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Trent hates all ice levels. I've got a positive. I've got to love it to even that out, and then I want to hear more negatives. I like when, and this is kind of ties in my last one, but I like when temperatures and their status effects have like a really clear indicator. Because that was a big thing about Frostpunk is your whole screen would like freeze over every time the temperature dropped, or when your character's like really cold and like it's kind of like red on the screen but kind of shivering, or your character's shivering in the game, or if you're playing a third person like adventure game and your character's like noticeably like really struggling and shivering until they get near a fire.
Yeah, but what if you're like losing hit, you know, those games where you're like taking slow hit point damage and they're like
that's how that's exactly what hypothermia sounds like. I don't know if you knew that, but when you die of hypothermia, you grunt constantly,
it's
like
just
an
grunt
ox.
after grunt after grunt.
You just make dad noises.
Like a dad who's like raking.
Like raking or like trying to like sit
grass.
up from an armchair, just.
He's a dad shifting in a rocking chair. That is the noise you make when you freeze to death. Fun fact, it's terrible.
Today I learned.
Yeah, today you learned that fact. Trent, what's something else you hate about temperature in games?
Yeah, so let's talk about the water temple in Ocarina of Time. I hate water levels.
Okay.
I like water levels like Mario, you know, when you can swim and stuff, but like when you can't do anything until you get that special item that lets you sink to the bottom and walk around. I hate it.
Chemical plant in Sonic 2? Fuck that shit.
All of that. Like that water temple in Zelda, everyone quits the game when they get to that point. No one's actually ever beat Ocarina of Time.
Mm-hmm.
They all
like
quit at
that
the
is
one.
the ending point. Like you get to the water level and you won,
ended.
and you just
Game's
turn it
over,
off.
yeah.
I have a hate that I don't like. Sometimes it pulls me out of the game in a weird way when it's really cold or hot out and your character is dressed completely inappropriately. Think God of War 4. Think God of War 4. You run around nearly naked and it's like,
hey, the
freezing.
ashes of your dead family are probably keeping you fairly warm.
I think
doesn't
they
mean you
cool
go tits
off at
out.
some
Sorry.
point. Danny's got it. It's just I don't think you would be. It doesn't matter how tough you are. If you are running around in sandals and a loincloth and on the top of a mountain with that snowing on you and you're fighting ice giants.
Yeah, I'm mostly
like,
concerned about his feet now. Like he's got like trench foot probably. Maybe something worse. Maybe frostbite. His toes are coming off.
Yeah.
And he is a dad, so it does track.
Yeah,
he's a dad tracks. Now. And then the opposite is true when you're on like a desert level and your character's got like a jacket on.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, please take it off. I'm so hot. You can't wear that.
Yeah. No,
I'm from the desert.
Yeah, I know what that looks like.
Yeah. So that will take me out of it sometimes and make me just slightly uncomfortable. I don't know why.
No, the Assassin's Creed characters are always grossly overdressed. Like the character in Black Flag, who's like wearing so many layers of clothing, and he's in the Caribbean,
out on the water in his full getup.
Good.
They did
luck.
it despite the cosplayers. They knew that someone had to have a heat stroke at a convention.
That'll do it. Any of those costumes will do it. Okay, if we don't have anything else, let's wrap this up. Right. Well, that's it. That's the whole kit and caboodle. That's the whole a dodal. To play us out, we have the theme from my personal favorite television show growing up. I don't know if you guys noticed any influence in the intros. Power Rangers. So much.
Dude, this is essentially us. Like, this is us.
This is how I feel whenever we're being Deathmoths.
I was always a Power Ranger when I was a kid. I love it.
Yeah.
But wait, which color were you?
Oh
green.
my.
Duh. What do I look like? Stupid?
Green?
Yeah. Tommy.
Isn't everyone blue?
No, dude. Yeah, okay, Billy. Trent's Billy.
You're a real Billy, Trent.
You are acting like you are a real Billy right now.
I was too old for this show, and so I don't know any of these references.
Yeah, okay. Just kidding. I take it back. Peterson's Billy.
I'm too old for this show.
Yeah.
Nice.
Real pull.
I'm too old for this show.
All right, guys. That's all we got. I'm JD logging off.
This is Peterson going AFK.
Dani saying BRB.
Trent signing out.
Peterson Productions. Oh, yeah.